I do want to check and see if anybody has anything that they'd like to add to the minutes that Nancy so kindly did at the school. And that would be Carol.
Yes. Well, thank you, Nancy, for doing that and capturing the discussion. I read through them and I don't know. I got a little overwhelmed, but I guess what was clear to me out of that meeting, which may have been the product of a discussion that wasn't the whole group, but it was between the superintendent and a few other people that were waiting around when the tour was going on with George. But I've worked on that project for months, if not years, and we've designed heating systems for it. That's not the problem. The problem consistently is there's no money appropriated, A, and B, that there's no use for the school determined. So I know that's mentioned throughout the minutes, but I do not see any benefit at all to continuing to work on a design for a heating system when we still don't have anyone who's going to pay for it. And that's why it never happened before when I got the quotes and did all that work. It's a tremendous amount of work to pull this stuff together, no matter what. Anyone else is welcome to try it. And so to start that whole process again, when it's still not determined which department's paying for it, where the money's coming from, I think that needs to get sorted out first. And secondly, I strongly feel, and I know this played into it some over the years, but just I don't know if there needs to be a requirement. The school should be at least 25% occupied or 50% occupied or something, but some kind of viable plan that means we're spending $1 million on something that's going to be used. So again, I know that was addressed in your minutes, but I would just say that I don't see any cause to work on an RFP until we have at least the funding.
And I have been speaking with Superintendent DeBar, who says that she, of course, is having problems getting school going here in the beginning and being new. And so she has not had a lot of time to think about Green River School since we were there. But she said one of the things that keeps coming to mind for her is that even if it had the best heating and cooling system that existed on Earth, the money to put in the technology and to furnish the school so that it could be used for whatever it's going to be used for is another huge expense that we don't have right now in the budget. So there is that part of it too. And so I had told her she could come today if she would like, and obviously she couldn't make it. But it appears to me that we're just not quite ready to go forward with this project right this minute. And it doesn't mean that the school wants to give up the school yet. It's just that she's too new and to know what the school needs to be used for. Does that make sense to everybody? Nancy, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have the minutes in front of me, and it was a month ago that I wrote them up. But I felt like the big outcome of that meeting that I personally was excited about is that there was agreement that if we ever moved forward with a heating system, we needed to do a zero fossil fuel heating system that would enable cooling and would move us towards meeting our climate goals on a state level. That was the thing that I felt was important. And who knows, maybe there'd be ARPA money or something else would come forward to make it worthwhile to actually move. But
I think that everybody,
that agreement, which I'm excited about.
I think that everybody in the school system now is looking for money to use toward that school. It's just that right now is not the perfect time with so many other problems like COVID in the schools, that kind of stuff. for her to drop everything and concentrate on the Green River School. And I'm sorry, Joe, go ahead with whatever.
I was just gonna, I mean, I like, again, Kara, I like what you said. Where's the money? Obviously, we'd be proposing it. And then I like what you said about, is there a planned use? On the other hand, I guess I'm just, part of my motivation was that you would, I guess, there is no use now because the building is not functional. So, but then I do think if the superintendent had more time, I mean, this certainly can be tabled, but I just see it as an unused building right now. And I would love to keep it as part of the conversation. I'd hate to let it go. There's been so much work that has been done there.
Yep.
But all those things, I think they're smart planning, like, is there a use? And then obviously the school can say, if we had that building X, Y, and Z. So,
Right.
Good, go ahead. That's it. I don't know if it made.
Well, I think that that's everybody's thought. I don't know how quickly she can get, all of the information, because she was going to do a future enrollment study, which we need to do to figure out if it needs to be used for schools. And we also need to find out if we have to pay back money if we take it out of the school system. I mean, those are the two big projects two big questions right now, neither of which can be answered in the next 30 days. Nancy?
It sounds like, I guess I or somebody needs to look at last month's meeting minutes and to be sure that what we just talked about is reflected in them.
I think it is
Yeah, it is.
in some context.
Okay.
I mean, I think that for public usage, if anybody wanted the minutes, that all of that was covered.
I
Carol,
hope clearly enough,
do you think it's covered enough for public dissemination?
you
If
have to
someone,
read them again to
well,
discern them.
then let's don't approve them yet. Let's just wait until next time to approve them, if that's okay with everybody. Carol has to leave it. Okay, Caitlin.
Just a quick question, because when we were talking about furnishing the school, I was just curious because it's before my time. What happened to all the stuff that was in the school in the first place? It was a furnished, functioning school.
I have no clue. Under the former superintendent, the school committee and the planning and construction committee were not allowed into the schools.
Oh, right.
So I have no clue what happened.
Okay.
I just know that right now, yes, Carol.
I've spent more time than I care to in that school. No, I love that school, but it was furnished, so I think, I don't know, maybe there's some things I know there's computers still in there because they're on, and so I think there's definitely so much stuff in there. They could outfit a few schools, I would say, but that's neither here nor there.
But again, she's new. She doesn't have a clue
yet.
yet. And we have to give her the chance to make an intelligent decision, not a rushed decision. Don't you all agree?
Yes.
Okay. And she is working toward that, and working toward figuring out what other things, like the elevators that were never done at Federal Street. You remember we talked about those years ago. And one elevator was funded by the council and never done. But I think both elevators now need to be done. But we'll talk about that when she gets her capital improvements list together, which we're supposed to see at school committee tomorrow. So we're working toward that. I don't think that the Green River School should be on that list for this year, but we'll see. Okay. And the other thing is the dashboards. Carol has 7 minutes before she has to leave.
I can take 7 seconds to just say
Okay.
that I'm trying to get them updated online. They're mostly done. I just it's a little tedious keeping track of everything, but just trying to firm up all the projects and capital improvements and things like that. So that's all.
Have you discovered
you.
anything else that we should be looking at?
In terms of,
Other buildings?
uh,
I know the police department is a mess, but I don't know that we can help with that.
I mean, I have some things, but it's just trying to get the information. I want to look at, yeah, I don't think I'm ready to talk about anything yet. 7 seconds.
Okay. Good job, Nancy.
Do we want to?
Carol, what buildings are gonna break the next week?
Yeah, I don't know which ones aren't. Let's draw a straw. No, I'm just kidding. Some of the I mean, we're getting a bigger and bigger stock of buildings that are great. You know, we have 4 new buildings coming or just built that are net zero ready. They're performing amazingly. We got a lot going on. We've been electrifying, and so it's looking better than ever.
Right. Nancy.
Do we want to put that question that you put to Carol on next month's agenda? Is that something, Carol, that you might have ready in a month?
I am currently preparing for the next Green Communities grant, which is in the spring. So potentially, but it may take till December to have enough info.
Oh, so maybe we should wait and aim for the December meeting. Does that
Sure.
sound like something that would be comfortable?
Sure.
Mhm.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And by December, we should also know what requests have come in for capital improvements, and we can talk about those too. If people want to have building improvements done. So for, and the update on the library, Carol, you were the one at the meeting, the library meeting. The fire station is going to be torn down, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so the library is going to proceed. And I don't think there's any other news on it.
No, we
You-
just voted on some payments, and I guess the meeting over the delay was quite colorful, but it's all systems go away. Go away, fire station. Was anyone there at the meeting? Was it? I heard, was there profanity in the
It was
meeting?
very exciting. About 30 people on their side were swearing their butts off, and then there was Garth. So it was like, it was both sides were behaving badly. No, half the room was behaving badly, and Garth was making fun of them.
Oh,
But also, of course,
You need about 50. You need 50
But
people
no.
to go up against Garth.
it wasn't. Frankly, it was depressing. It was just so depressing that this is what we've come to.
Well,
But
it's,
interestingly, we found out a little too late, but we know now for the future that there is actually provision in Mass General Law for open meetings. People were worried about throwing anyone out of the meeting for any reason because we didn't want to risk them saying that it breached open meeting law, and we would have to have another meeting, which would mean a minimum of 14 days for the next meeting and so forth. But it turns out there is a provision in Mass General Law that says that the chair is allowed to ask someone to settle down, and if they don't, they can be removed. So that's something I hope we're going to publicize for future meetings of all types.
and as far as the temporary fire station, they're all moved into it. It is up and operational. They have enough space now for all their needs. And the design phase is starting for the new fire station, and we're having a meeting tomorrow if anybody would like to attend it to see the first ideas that the architects have, because that hasn't been started yet. Yes, Caitlin?
Are they building on any of those 3 designs that were proposed way back when, or is it kind of something new now?
Well, from my experience on other building committees, after they finally get the land and get the go-ahead and know how much money they have, then they start over. I mean, I don't know this group of architects, I don't know how they will handle it, but that's what they did on the senior center and that's what they did on the library.
Mhm.
Is it was all just airy fairy until we really knew where it was going to go. Normal. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
natural. That people need to get excited, so they draw these beautiful concepts, and then we go to the
Oh,
reality.
that makes sense because curves cost a lot of money. And they have this bow truss roof that's like wavy, and I'm like, okay, we can afford that. Right on.
Oh, well, I keep saying Athens pizza is in front of it. What difference does it make what it looks like? We just are going to have the big bays with the fire trucks coming out, Nancy.
I see John Andrews has joined us. I wanted
know,
to
wouldn't it
welcome
be-
him.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if he were back on the committee?
It would be. So John, you're hiding behind your name. We can't see you. Ah, you are. Hey, nice to see you're muted, by the way. We can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself? Nope, still can't hear you.
Can you
All right.
There we go. How is everybody?
Good.
Hey, welcome. Nice to see you.
We miss you.
I hear you. Yeah, I've been, this place keeps me pretty busy, so it's a good call I made on getting out of the town end. This place needs a lot of help. But
What are you working on?
Moose business. I'm doing the Moose books and finances and payroll and billing, and it was quite a mess. So I inherited a lot of work.
But you're
I'm
not
glad
working,
you're all. I'm
you're
glad
not
you're all
using
still
your-
active. And
you're not using your construction skills.
no, I'm not. They're pretty rusty anyway. I've been retired since I was 53. That's like 6 years ago now.
Hey, that's nothing.
Yep.
Just like yesterday.
Yeah, that is.
How
But
you doing, Carol? It's good seeing everybody.
All right,
So-
I have to get going.
Goodbye,
Sorry. Good to
Carol.
see you, John. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Carol.
thanks for being here.
And Amy, do you want to follow up with me? Do you want me to follow up with you, or you? We should just touch base. So I don't know. I can work around your schedule.
I mean, if you could just get MJ to email me, that'd be awesome.
I'll do my best. Thanks.
I mean,
And-
surely I rate an email.
You do. You rated in-person visit in my book.
No, she's tried to visit me a couple times. I feel like, I think that email would just work better.
Okay, I will definitely let her know first thing. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Goodbye. So John, we're looking for, can't you give us some recommendations of other people in the construction business, large building, that live in Greenfield?
There are some people that are still active in the Carpenters Union that I know. They probably wouldn't want to do this until they retire, like I did. So I'll keep my ears open. For all the naysayers on the fire station, I tell them to talk to a firefighter, by the way, because all the firefighters are pretty much good with the process. So that's my blanket dispensation for anybody that's against this temporary fire station. I would have preferred a public safety, as I told Gene, all those meetings we went to. It's unfortunate that the money wasn't there for that, but I'm glad that we're moving forward for the firefighters of this city now.
Thank you. Are
And
any of those guys you just mentioned or people that you mentioned getting close to retirement?
There's actually a politically active one who's the Democratic committee, Pat Falvey. You all know Pat. He stands out on he's Democratic committee, and he may be somebody that would be interested in this. So I'll run it by him. He's the one name I have.
Thank
Okay, well, or give us his contact. That's a mail, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure will.
Give his contact, and we'd love to try to sweet talk him into it.
But you're better at sweet talking, so we'll let you have the first go ahead.
Yeah. But, I do have to go to the conservation commission meeting that starts in a little while, so I figured I'd chime in here first. I got a notice that the property on the barn on River Street, they're proposing somebody move in there. It's Community Action
Oh,
is proposing doing the project there.
huh.
And
Like using it as their no, using it as
Yeah.
their office space?
yeah, it's only a proposal now, taking over that space.
Well, they're spread out all over the place, so that's a very interesting idea.
I think they might try to center their forces in one spot maybe.
Uh-huh.
But I'm
Interesting.
a butter, so I have to go to the meeting. I got a notice today for a meeting at 6 o'clock for the butters, so I'll be going to that at 6.
See, you just can't stay out of town stuff.
No,
can
I can't. I did not miss all the WebEx time. I will admit that. There's been very few WebExes since I started here at the Moose. They don't use it, so.
Got it.
But I did miss the beginning of your meeting. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, so I'll just hang out here in the background while I do my work.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
You got it.
So, Amy, do you feel better now? Do you think we'll solve your problem? And if not, please get in touch with me. I promise I'll try.
No, I mean, I think it's just going to be one more like difficulty I'll have to navigate. I don't think that the town's going to budge on this. They have not asked for my input. They have not integrated any input I've had like through back channels. And, you know, I think that Greenfield's attitude towards small business owners is you're welcome. And that's more of what I've encountered. And so, I mean, I've certainly become extremely adept at dealing with challenges and difficulties. So I will just put this in the column of one more thing that's annoying.
Well, I think that having Carol advocate for you and having Caitlin here not saying she's not going, aren't you going to help Caitlin? Don't you want Mesa Verde? Yes, yes. We all want Mesa Verde.
Let's kind of I think we should structure this. I mean, I think we're really trying to give these suggestions for all those businesses, Conti's, Mesa Verde, et cetera, et cetera. Let's be very careful not to do anything that's going to help out one individual. I feel bad, Amy, that you feel that way. Sometimes I wonder if there's too many irons in the fire. People are thinking about how to do things a certain way for drainage, and they're not thinking about delivery, you know? So hopefully with Carol's input and Caitlin's input, some last minute changes can be made that will benefit that whole strip there of businesses. But let's be careful not to make this a Mesa Verde request. Okay, we really just got to be mindful of that.
Well, I just want to say that I misspoke. It's a keep trucks from backing down the Fisk Avenue. That is the goal. Caitlin, go ahead.
That's what I heard you say. So
I was just going to say, Amy, it would be good to, maybe I could come over sometime and talk to you, because if, like, in order to talk to MJ about it, it might be better if I find out first what it is you really need. Like, if we can find out what you or John and Claire or the Contis or whoever might specifically need, so that you don't have to be the person that's doing that interface.
I mean, I don't. So there are
in the bar below.
There are therapists above Mesa Verde, and then the bar below has been doing very limited business. And, you know, I mean, I'm just asking that my life not get more difficult. I'm not asking for special treatment. So, I don't feel uncomfortable with saying that being adversely affected as the solo business that's adversely affected gives me the right to ask for some modifications. And I think that, you know, I think it's just a matter of not wanting to consider the actual realities of, you know, how people do business downtown. Like, I've seen this for 20 years. When you speak up and you're like, this is how this will adversely affect me, I often get the feedback of like, oh, well, I'm really not interested in that. So, like, I don't think this is about drainage or, you know, like the trees or the not trees or how many plants are going in there. I think it's simply a refusal to incorporate into the design process and the feedback process anything that has any bearing on how we do business in Greenfield.
Nancy?
Yeah, I'm very distressed to hear that small businesses are not supported. And thank you
Well, there
for
aren't very
sharing
many.
that.
So you have to ask yourself
Well,
why that would.
there are some people who are still hanging on. And in my experience, in the SGIC committee, for example, and MJ has been doing a lot of work with downtown rethinking about downtown revitalization because of COVID, and it's all about the downtown businesses. So I'm really sad to hear that that you feel like that's not the case, you know, that the businesses are not front and center, which I thought you guys were from the way MJ was talking. So I appreciate you sharing your frustration, and I'm sorry, and if there's anything I can do, I think, yeah, the whole issue is the businesses come first. It's that simple to me. And so understanding the business's needs and trying to do the best we can to meet those seems like number one.
I mean, I appreciate that sentiment, but I think that if we were, and I include myself in this group of, you know, people who pay taxes as a business and as a resident, I don't think we have demonstrated that businesses are a priority at all, because we haven't seen very many come into the downtown. Like we've only seen a lot of them go out. So I do think that like a practical discussion of like, well, why is that? And this is a prime example of like, okay, so we got $200,000 or $400,000, and that's awesome. It's going to improve the downtown. I'm totally for it. I'm very excited that there was this level of investment by the state in the city of Greenfield. But again, it's like, we're not going to consider the premier business at this, you know, site, because if we were, then it will just somehow dim the radiance of the park itself. So why I think it's a very interesting conversation about like, why is it that we think that we have to sacrifice something about the business in order to make the town better? I think that this is exactly why we don't have more businesses.
So, okay, so are we saying that the renovations at this park, I guess I have to see it. Are we saying that it has negatively impacted your use there?
I'm saying it's going to make it a lot more difficult for goods to be delivered, and I have a lot of goods delivered, and I take those goods and I transform retail food.
Yeah.
In the future.
And then are we saying that there is no way to modify at this point? Oh, are we saying there's no way to modify at this point? Or are we open for discussion here?
Well, I believe the beginning of this conversation is that it's not in our purview, that this is actually MJ's baby, and that any modifications would be on the parking commission.
Well, my question is, if the businesses had all been consulted from the beginning, we wouldn't be in a position of needing to modify anything. I mean, I guess that's where I come from. John, you leaving us?
No, I need to say something.
Oh, good.
So the Ames Street being closed for the Wings outdoor seating, we were not asked before that street was closed. It's adversely affect the Moose Club and Baker Office Supply and many other businesses. I brought it to Danny, and I have to say, I got not a whole lot of warm-hearted feeling about it as a Moose Club. You know, we are a nonprofit, but it was difficult. I was looked like as the bad guy. I hate to say, I'm just calling them as I see them. And, you know, Ames Street remains closed, and I'm told it's going to stay closed until first snow. So, you know, we had tractor trailers parked in the Moose lot to deliver food to all of these businesses that used to get it from Ames Street. Now they back down Ames Street. It's not the best thing in the world, but we were not consulted, and you got to live with it, is what we were told, you know. So I kind of feel for you, Amy, and I've felt it myself.
And
You know?
Hawks and Reed has also expressed that same distress. So you're not alone, Amy. Okay, Caitlin.
I want to say, first of all, I agree that in many cases that happens and it's something we're trying to fix. But Hawks and Reed has been consulted numerous times all along the way. We might have, there may have been other balls dropped, but Hawks and Reed, they've known what was, they might not always like it because they think they should get more, but Amy, I don't want you to I'll talk to MJ. I don't want you to feel like it's too late or we're not listening or any of those things. And I think that, it wouldn't hurt for you to reach out and say that you're not happy with the way that procedure happened.
Well, I emailed her, haven't received an email back. So, I mean,
to somebody else, I mean. Because these are the kind of things that build up and make us have an anti-business reputation, like you're saying. And it's the last thing, I'm sure it's the last thing that the mayor wants, it's the last thing that this office wants. So what we need is feedback from people like you so we can say, wow, that didn't work. So how are we going to make a policy? Not just like, we're going to fix this one, which we will try to do, but how do we make policies and procedures going forward that prevent this kind of thing from happening so that it's codified, so that it doesn't take someone like you who can come forward and say that you have a problem. Some people won't, some people will just be pissed off and then that's how the bad things happen, So I really appreciate you saying this stuff. And I think that if you, at a certain point, if you're not getting the information you need, you bump it up a level, you escalate to a manager the same way you would in a restaurant or store or whatever else, because we are working hard to try to figure out ways to have systems that make sure these things don't happen. Off my soapbox now.
Okay, moving on.
And we are interested in planning and construction now that we understand in how this all gets resolved. So I'm not kicking it away either. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed today? John?
Did I miss the discussion on Green River School on your meeting? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I don't want to make you rehash that again.
The bottom line is nothing's going to be done.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it like that.
But we're going to keep talking about it.
I
There's
think
no money for anything right now.
Well, I would say the two major points were there's no money in that. What is the intended use if the money's spent? And I think it was sort of put back on the superintendent that if the school can, whatever, the schools can say what they would use the building for, and then we would use that as our reasoning for asking for money. Does that sound
perfect?
Somewhat well taken?
Yes,
okay,
perfect.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And just my last comment would be that I did make a comment with Chris Collins the other day about the projects in Greenfield that have been put off because of the fire station library project. I'm not judging them, but I know that the Sanderson Street rebuild was obviously supposed to happen as soon as school closed, and it did not. Danny did respond to me because I thought that Wisdom Way was another project we put off. Now, I understand we saved a lot of money with the DPW doing the work. I'm not against that, but we got to be careful of delaying projects and then they all hit us at once. We were all well aware of that. And, I'm trying to think if there was another one, but it slipped my mind. But I know that, the digester didn't happen and we were taxed for that. This is a different pool of money. I understand the water money is different than our regular money, but the DPW is central in all of that. If they can't get to those projects, they're going to snowball on them. And I was informed today that the mountain road between Greenfield and Turner's is going to be scarified and repaved. That's the only road leading to Turner's. And that was supposed to have been done earlier too, and that's going to create a problem. So there are problems when you babysit just the emergencies and you don't stay to the big picture work, you know. So there is going to be some growing pains if we have more water main breaks and we haven't done all those other jobs. So just a word of caution, not to throw everything in one bucket when we do this work. We need to do the projects that are scheduled on time, and because there's more coming, as we well know. So that's my last point. So it's great to
Yeah,
see you all again.
I would add to that the conversation about a skate park. And you could see a new police station in the pipeline.
I gotta tell you, the taxpayers are not happy in this town, at least the ones I know. They're all nervous.
You gotta hang out with my taxpayers then.
I just want to point out that the skate park just got a massive grant, and the money for the skate park has already been appropriated. It was been appropriated in the past, and that fundraising is ongoing.
Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn. Can't wait to see you all in a month. Yes, Joe.
I second that motion.
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Are we meeting in person in a month?
I hope so. I mean, we'll just wait and see what the COVID is.
On the other boards that I'm on, we have followed the lead of the council. So if you want to meet in person, I'm happy to, but also if the council is meeting virtual, I don't know. So
Committee is meeting in person tomorrow night. So
okay.
And I think the numbers are
You know what
going
the
down.
council's doing?
I think no, I don't know.
Okay, I don't either. Okay.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
A second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
We have to vote on it.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
Great seeing everybody.
Nice to
Everybody.
see you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.